For today's class, I thought we'd do a little review to prepare for a quiz for our next session. So far in this chapter, we've been talking about linear equations and how to graph them. We looked at two forms of the equation already. Let's start with standard form. The standard form of the linear equation, as you know, is ax plus by equals c, where a and b are the coefficients in front of the x and y variable terms, and c is a constant. If given the equation in standard form, simply identify the a, the b, and the c. Well, the coefficient in front of x is 3. The coefficient in front of y is -5. Take that sign in front. And the constant is -2. Second problem, -4x plus y equals 6. Coefficient in front of a is -4. Coefficient in front of in front of y, gave the answer away, is 1, and the constant is 6. What if you had to rewrite the equation first? Okay, so let's give this a little space here and see if we can rewrite these first. Okay. We'll take each equation and we'll just transform it to get the x term first by adding 2x. And now it's in the standard form, so I know my a is 2, my y is 1, and my constant c is -5. Let's do one more. Let's move this x term over by one inverse operation. We need to subtract it over. And I see my a is -4, my b is -7, and my c is 1. So I wanted just to familiarize you a little bit with how to write something in standard form. When we're looking at graphing, the first way we graph, as you know, was with a table of values. And that this time the equation is in what we call function form or slope-intercept form. You will be given a domain so that you can complete a table. We call it an input-output table or a function table. Once again, keeping the function or the rule very simple, take some number and add 2. -1 plus 2 will give me 1. 0 plus 2 will give me 2. 1 plus 2 will yield 3, and 2 plus 2 results in 4. You have now created your ordered pairs, and then you'll go to your coordinate plane and graph. Once we graph it, we'll be able to tell whether the slope is positive or negative. So let's start. Starting at the origin, -1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 4. Connect your points, put your arrows at both ends, and you should be able to tell me that this line has a positive slope. Positive slope because it's rising from left to right. Okay, so there's your function table, and we could practice others if you'd like in class, but this is just a quick review to help you prepare. From there, we decided to talk about a quick graph method. Yes, we can set up a table of values, but it takes a little time and we can possibly make errors in our computation. So another way to graph a linear equation is to use the intercepts. And once we connect those 2 points, we'll be able to once again state if the slope of that line is positive or negative. If my x-intercept, which is a point on the x-axis, is -5, and my y-intercept, which is a point on the y-axis, is -3, and I go ahead and connect the points because we only need 2 points to graph a line, and we're going to notice that this graph line is going downhill, so it has a negative slope. I'll use the word it falls from left to right. I'll say it has downhill. Those are the words that tell me it's a negative slope. A second one to practice with just given the intercepts, and again, this is the easier of the two. We're going to go over to -2, my x-intercept, up 1, 2, 3, 4 to my y-intercept, connect my points, and I have my line. This is rising or going uphill. It's a positive slope. So on our quiz will be asked to graph those intercepts and tell what type of slope it is. What happens when you're not given the intercepts, but you're given the equation, and we're back to standard form again? Well, let's find our x and y intercepts. If you recall from last week, we set y to 0, and I get -2x equals 8. Divide, and I'll get x is equal to -4. -4 is my x-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my first point. I now have to find my y-intercept, so x is equal to 0. That leaves me with 4y is equal to 8. I divide by 4 and I get 2. 1, 2. 2 points creates the line. An additional problem. Let's just try one more. If y were equal to 0, I don't have to do any calculations. If this term cancels out, I've got x is -8. Let's count over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my x-intercept. To find y, x is equal to 0. That simplifies to 4y is equal to -8. And divide by 4, and I get y is equal to -2. Down 1, 2. Once again, I have 2 points. I can connect them, put arrows at both ends. Here's my line, and this has a negative slope. Yes, we started talking about slope and how to calculate slope from a line as well as with 2 points, but this is all that'll be on our quiz.